Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. And today we are getting into another Star Wars Lego set 75333, Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter. I recently reviewed the Yoda Jedi Starfighter. So this one right here is another small size ship, and it's great because this type of set right here, I'm gonna put a link in the description, goes for $23.99 on Amazon. And it's nice when you can get a couple of Starfighter ships, small little fighter ships, for under $30 just to build up your collection. This one right here comes with a decent amount of figures. Obi-Wan, you get R4 P17, which obviously no one's going to be as famous as R2D2, but it's nice being able to have one of these with his ship and knowing that it's his personal one. And then you have the Toon Wee. This is from Camino, I believe that is what that area is called in the background. I'm having a brain fart, so don't mind. Where the clones were created. So, obviously everyone remembers the scene. It was an iconic scene. Unfortunately, they never really gave, to the best of my knowledge, any other sets that really went hand in hand with, that scene in terms of maybe a setup, maybe even giving a little clone factory would have been nice, like a little kind of build for that. And even obviously everyone wanted a Jango Fett Slave One, his version, but I don't think that was ever something that was thrown out there. But nonetheless, you get a piece of that scene with this. And just to have the Starfighter, which was later on used a lot of times, either later on for different scenes. So me personally, this is one of my, if not my favorite small fighter ship in the series. Fun fact, during the time frame when they created this ship, though it looks like it's somewhat around the same size as, like, say, an X-Wing or whatnot, it really is not as capable in terms of deep space travel, which is why, if you remember in a later scene of episode 2, he has to have this ring around the ship that gives him extra acceleration and power as far as for flight. I forget the word I'm looking for right now. I'm having a brain fart towards it, but auxiliary power. You can put in the notes what I'm trying to say, but I know I have a thought in my mind. It's not coming clear to me. But essentially, he needs an extra boost of power to get him from planet to planet, because this ship itself can't do it alone, whereas Luke's X-Wing can go from planet to planet without a problem. So you can see the difference between that time frame of, what was that, at least a good, because Luke wasn't even born yet, so at least a good maybe 20-25 years time difference of from this technology to that technology. But this is still my favorite small ship. I just love, like, the angles of it. I love that it's very simple, and just the design of it. It's always just been my favorite. And it does come with a couple of little neat accessories too, like it has opening hatch for you to put the little droid, his body, inside there. I'm not gonna remember the name off the top of my head. R4, we're just gonna call him R4. For you to throw R4 inside there, as well as a little antenna piece, which I think that's cool too, because if I'm not mistaken, this was utilized when Obi-Wan was on, I'm not sure the name of that planet, so forgive me, but where he got there, he knew Grievous was there, and the clone army, not the clone army, the droid army was there, and he started sending out a signal, which wasn't able to reach Coruscant, but it was able to reach where Anakin was, and he had this little device he put his little signal on to communicate with them. So that's kind of cool. So little details like that, I really like this whole kind of like setup and details of the engine and whatnot. So let's jump into this. I know this is going to be a set that I'm really excited about once I get it open and put it together, because, like I said, it is my favorite of the smaller ships. I'm sure everyone's got their favorites. I'm sure for a lot of people, it's the classic X-Wing. What I think is funny when it comes to that, though, is the X-Wing is a little bit more expensive, the current one right now, versus, like, say, something like this. So it kind of benefits me that my favorite ship happens to be one that's more affordable. Let's see how many bags we have coming with this. We've got bag 1. Let me just change the angle up a little bit. We've got bag 2, and we've got bag 3. Now, this one seems to have a lot of stickers. That's going to be annoying. Very annoying to put on. This is a lot of stickers. But I want to give you guys a little tidbit, a little hint. I use a tweezer to put on my stickers, and the reason why is because a lot of times when you grab with your hand, your fingers can sometimes get in the way of you trying to put down the sticker when it gets to a very small like piece that you have to put it on. So when you grab it, from the side like this, and you're laying that down, it's a lot easier to angle it down, and then you just press the edge that you have down with your other finger, and it works. So this has helped me a lot with getting the stickers pretty accurate. So a little tip there. And here goes obviously the instruction manual. I am going to love this ship. I think it looks really awesome already, and I'm glad that it doesn't break the bank to purchase. With that said, you guys, I'm going to jump into putting this together, and then we're going to come back and review it. All right, you guys, we're back. And here is the completed Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter. Now, little one, two little tidbits I just want to add before I jump into the review, because I don't want you guys looking at these things and thinking they don't normally come on it. This piece right here is one of the extra pieces. I just threw it on there for stability because this piece right here at the tip this is only held together this is supported through this piece, but so I threw it on there. So if you think it doesn't look good on it, just know that's not normally on there. And obviously these right here, I threw them there just as extra ammo for the stud shooters, because I like keeping extra ammo on the ships if I can do that. With that being said, let's jump into Obi-Wan. All right, so here we see Obi-Wan, and he has the hood on. You can see the details on his cloak, and I think it's really nice. You see how they've done the inside shows his inner outfit, and then the cloak going on the outside, and it comes down to the legs, and then it goes onto the bottom below where his shoes are or whatever footwear he would have. But because this is the same color as the rest of him, it just looks like he's wearing one solid thing. So it just looks very nice the way that was done. Now you could take this off and put his hair on, and then he has his Clone Wars slash episode 2 hair. I say that because I have an older Obi-Wan who has the Obi-Wan Hut set, who goes to the original trilogy. So obviously that one's going to be different. And this is younger Obi-Wan. He also has second face detail where he has his little, I guess, his comms link that he uses while he's in the plane. So you can just kind of turn that around and put him in plane mode if you feel so. And let's see here. We have R4. Obviously not the famed R2-D2, but at the same time, not everyone can be running around with the same droid. So it's nice that he has a droid to call his own. And so this is R4. The full name is R4 P17. He doesn't have any printing on the back. A lot of them didn't have that, so sometimes some of the newer ones do. The R2D2 that I just recently reviewed with the Yoda Starfighter has decals on the back, so printing on the back. So yeah. And this right here is one of the Caminos, if I'm saying that right. Caminans. You guys correct me in the comments. Ton Wee. So a lot of people are saying that they're excited at the fact that, this is one of the only sets that you can get this type of character in. So that aspect is nice. But then at the same time, too, obviously, you're not going to buy multiple of this set just to get this character. So I think that even though it works well, if when it comes to this type of character, this is the type of character that they should have really made more of in a different set. I'm going to go on a quick rant right now before I continue the rest of this review. I was mentioning in a previous review with the Yoda Starfighter that I would like to see more small setups, more structure setups or scene setups similar to Obi-Wan's hut. Perfect example of that. It was a small set that cost maybe around $30 when it first came out, maybe 35. Right now you can find it for 46. It's creeping up there because I think it's an older set that's soon not going to be around anymore. But my point to it is it has probably around the same amount of pieces um, as this Starfighter right now, costs roughly about the same price, $10 more when it first came out. But the point is, or maybe about the same, because this right now, link's going to be in the description. It's going for like $23.99. Maybe its initial price was 30. That hut might have been 30. But anyway, my point is that you have those little nice sets that you can build, structural sets, not just for the spaceships, but structural sets. This could have used this whole little thing. If they weren't going to build a big set for the clone setup, they really could have done a little small setup where you have like a little, maybe 16 by 16 little base, or even like something about that size, maybe 12 by 12 base, a little kind of stand that maybe has like 3 or 4 clones circling around it, maybe 2 of these Caminian, however you say it, I'm sorry, Camino people on the set, 2 or 3 of them. It could have been another $30 set. They didn't have a lot of detail in maybe the structure, a couple of walls of bigger pieces, a little like kind of maybe like rack set that just had the clones like hanging on it or sitting on like a little circular platform. And however they done it could have been simple, but then had like maybe 3 of these characters with it, and it just something that they could have thrown together for $35, $40 maybe, to go on, hand in hand with these little sets. I really think that the Lego needs to start making smaller little structure sets that people could jump into and start building in their collection on a small level. That way you can kind of create more of these classic scenes that people want to see from the Star Wars sets, rather than people having to wait for giant sets to come out that sometimes don't even get it right, don't give you the aspect that we want, or hitting straight to the point, or whatever the case is. But that was just a little rant I just want to go on because I really think that's something that should be tackled on. Now let's jump into the Starfighter. So this, as I mentioned before, is my favorite Starfighter, or like small fighter ship, spaceship in Star Wars. It's just my favorite as far as the small ones. Bigger ones, it's different, but as far as little small ones, between the X-Wing, between Yoda's ship, between any of those kind of smaller ones, the Y-Wing, the A-Wing, all those, this is my favorite. Not to say any of those other ones are bad, it's just my favorite. But at the same time, too, what's very funny about this, and I mentioned it before earlier in the video, was that this one is a more older design in their universe, in their canon universe, in that it doesn't have the power for deep space travel on its own, but nonetheless, I still like it. So some of the features that it has on it, obviously the build, I like it. I don't mind that it has a little bit of gaps there, because I know getting this angle, you wouldn't be able to really do this otherwise. So I don't find a problem with that. You have the stud shooters here. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot them off, but you guys already know how that works. I think they integrated it in very well, where it's not over the top. Some people get mad about stud shooters being in it. I really don't mind. They don't bother me. Here you have the landing gear. It's actually pretty stiff because it has that kind of joint or click type of articulation, not just a smooth movement. So they kind of lock into place. So when you put it upwards, it's going to stay that way. When you bring it downwards, it's going to also stay that way, relatively speaking. So that's why you can kind of put it down and it will hold its own in terms of the weight. Just don't push down on it hard, because that's going to make it fall down. You got the clips here. And I was mentioning this with Yoda's Starfighter ship. I like how a lot of these little ships will come with everything you need to fit everything, mostly who come with it. Unfortunately, this one comes with, not going to say unfortunately, fortunately, it comes with an extra character, but that extra character is not made to be on the ship. So that character is not going to be able to be contained into the ship. But other than that, the character that is on the ship, which is going to be Obi-Wan and his R4, are all able to be on this ship. With that, like I said, this allows you to carry the his lightsaber on there, and right here is a space for you to put R4, and we'll do that now. And you can throw him here. And you don't really even have to put him in there all the way, because honestly, the fact that you have something to cover it, this is what I was mentioning before. Just make sure when you push down on this, I would say hold it like this from underneath, so that way you don't have a problem pushing down. So just like I forgot at that moment, you may forget, but that seals him in there. You can put the head here. Make sure, once again, press underneath the wing for support. And then now you have the spinning head like you would have in the movie, where the mech is spinning around. Some reason I'm feeling like it's rubbing. I don't know if it's that I didn't put him down smooth, but I do feel a little bit of rubbing. I think it's just the closeness of this to that. There is a little bit of rubbing in the spin, but I don't think it's coming from the head of the droid. I think it's coming from the gray circular pieces of that. But nonetheless, it still spins 360. It's just not like one of those kind of spins where you can flick it and it just spins. You got a little radar right there. This set came with a lot of stickers, but once you get them on, they do, really highlight the positives on the ship and the way it looks. I don't think it would look great without it. The thrusters, the engines actually fit in there very well, and they're done with like Technipin, so they're done in a way that they're structurally very tight inside there. So I really like that. It's not something that's going to fall off. Again, look at the inside here. Got the little control panel. You don't have a little like kind of control stick, but nonetheless, you get the idea. Little headrest here. The only thing you would not be able to hold is his either hair or his hoodie. And I'm just going to drop him in there. I'm not going to push him in there hard, but you wouldn't be able to hold that in the set. So in that aspect, you can't contain everything, but that's because obviously an alternative piece is assuming that that piece doesn't exist, so that's the idea between that. If he doesn't have his hoodie on, you're assuming that he just pulled his hoodie back and it's on the back of him. If he has his hoodie on, you just assume his hair is underneath his hoodie. So obviously that's something where it will accommodate a space for that. But yeah, you have the little satellite here, which, as I mentioned before, this was used in episode 2 when he was trying to signal back to the Jedi temple, and he was only able to reach Anakin, who was kind of in between the distance of where he was versus where the Jedi temple was. So, yes, that's pretty much it about the ship. Like I said, it's a very simple ship, but I just love the way it looks. A very sleek, very aerodynamic design. I think it's really cool. In addition to that, too, if you don't want to have him fly around with the droid, this can be a very nice storage space. And that's actually really cool, too. So obviously, most of the time, you're going to have him with his R4. It just makes sense. Let's see if I can get the R4 off here. So generally speaking, as I said, he would be traveling with it. Definitely always gets funny trying to figure out what side is the front and what side is the back with this thing, because they both almost look the same. But anyway, if he's not traveling with his R4, this is just an amazing storage space for a small ship like this. And I wish that there were like more ships that just had those kind of options, because I just think that's really cool, especially on a little portable ship like this, that you can throw something on it. It almost makes me think of almost like somebody on a motorcycle or something like that, because essentially that's what a Starfighter ship is, or fighter jet fighter ship is like a motorcycle in relation to like a car. And it's like you'll have like a little spot you could just throw your bag in or something like that, and it's kind of like that. So I think that's kind of cool, even though obviously it's designed for the mech. But if you want, you could always go the route of just putting the head of R4 on here, not putting the body in there, and just using that as storage, where before he flies in his ship, he comes up here, throws something that he wants to throw in there, stores it away, whether it's like a little pouch or something like that, or whatever it is. And then from there, locks it up and takes off. So that's pretty cool that you even have that option. And the truth is, I don't think even a lot of other Star fighter ships, including the X-Wing, I don't really know because I don't have that set. But the most recent X-Wing that's like normally goes for about $40, I don't think that one even has a storage unit like that. So I think that's interesting. And I also wanted to say too that these sets, like this one and the the Yoda Jedi Starfighter, have like a 200 and some change count for their parts, 250. This one's 280 something. So they have that kind of range. Some of the more beefier starships that are almost about the same size, but maybe a little bit more detail packed with parts, like the X-wing and the more recent Boba Fett's Starfighter. They give it a different name now. I think they call it his Starfighter, where obviously they don't call it the Slave One anymore, but obviously it's the Slave One, his Starfighter. They have somewhere in that 400 and some change, 450, give or take, parts range. So those ones go for about 40. So they're about double the price that you'll find these. So I do think that those are worth it based on the count. But I also think that ships like this are a great bargain because they're giving you roughly almost the same size of the ship in terms of the physical size of it for like half the price. So that's kind of cool. Just in terms of building that ship collection. And like I said, a ship like this will give you extra storage, which some of those other ships don't even actually give you. So that's kind of cool to know that you get that. It's really just on the fact the parts aspect is why those cost more and not because of the size aspect. So I think that makes these a good bargain just in terms of, building up your ship lineup. With that being said, you guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.